let's just have us a quick conversation about consent. I ain't gonna be all day because I gotta go to therapy in about 30 minutes, you know what I'm saying, at 9 o'clock. Right now, there are particular type of dudes, you feel me, on Twitter exposing themselves and how they're implicated in over sexualizing women. And it shows me they don't really understand the notions of consent. So the point of me doing this live stream right now is to just have an in-depth conversation, a kind of quick one about consent and about how a lot of dudes being lost in the sauce of what I'm gonna call rape culture. You feel me? What I know about being a 33-year-old on this internet is damn near anybody that feel like they are somebody in any way, shape, or fashion, you didn't post a thirst trap before. You see what I'm saying? Right now, there are individuals that believe that if a person posts a thirst trap of themselves on their own page, this gives credence and the ability for anybody to sexualize them. This is the same idea that leads to women being harassed and catcalled because you believe they showed up too revealing at the club. What I know is that when we start talking about consent and coercion and respecting bodies, a lot of dudes act like they don't get it when we start talking about women. You feel me? So for this conversation, we're gonna talk about consent, but specifically consent in regards to how we move. You see what I'm saying? If a man sexualizes himself and posts a thirst trap on their Facebook or their Instagram, most men would agree that it does not justify any unwanted sexual advances, and most of us would agree that it doesn't justify. You feel me? A stranger sexualizing us to the point that we are uncomfortable. You see what I'm saying? Or sexualizing them when we don't want it at all. This is why we start talking about consent, right? If you have unwanted advances towards you and your body, that's what's going on. You see what I'm saying? You talking about, well, this person sexualizes himself, to me, it's coming off as being very facetious. You see what I'm saying? Or you just lying, you capping. Because what I know is that if you post a video as a man, or you post a picture as a man, and you see other men in your comment section giving you unwanted advances, you're gonna feel played and feel like they harassing you because you didn't consent to those type of advances. Likewise, if Angel Reese, you feel me, is talking about being sexually harassed, getting death threats, being over sexualized, and you jump to being like, well, she sexualized herself. Congratulations, you exposing yourself and how you're implicated within rape culture. When I say rape culture, I'm talking about a particular set of ideas, beliefs, the way we use language and words, and how it justifies gender violence. And in this instance, if you believe that a woman talking about being over sexualized and being harassed and getting death threats, and you believe that it's permissible because she posted a video of her in her bikini, it is a part of how gender violence is perpetuated specifically against Black women, which brings me to Emmanuel Acha. I'm gonna make a separate video for you. It's gonna be like a TikTok one. But when you talk about Black women being the most marginalized, and then you make a metaphor referring to Angel Reese as a dog, it comes off as being not only tone deaf, but it's showing that you really tap dancing so hard for them white folks that put you on that little channel that you forgetting your own humanity, and you forgetting that the same way you talking shit about Angel Reese, they'll do the same thing to your Black mama, your daddy, you feel me, your grandma, your sister. So that's the reason why we gotta really watch out this. You know what I'm saying? The respectability politics is what I imagine. The respectability politics and how different oppressed peoples police ourselves to be able to uphold the standards and morals of people that's oppressing us. That's what respectability politics is. And that's what a lot of dudes is doing when it comes to the Angel Reese shit. The ideal, man. I'm a greet her how I meet her. So if she dressed like a hoe, I'm gonna treat her like a hoe. If she dressed like a lady, I'm gonna treat her like a lady. That's the same ideology of white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? If he looked like a thug, I'm gonna treat him like a thug. If he looked like a criminal, I'm gonna treat him like a criminal. Recognizing that you having Black skin and being the Black man, that is the baseline of them being able to prescribe you being a thug or you being a criminal. Likewise, a woman really having on anything can be seen as being a hoe or being a bitch or being whatever. You know what I'm saying? And that's the reason why I know a lot of y'all being intellectually dishonest. You feel me? And you just really trying to take different little fragments of a narrative and blow it up in ways that ain't really going down. And that's why I know we need to have more in-depth conversations about consent. You feel me? The same dudes that act confused when we start talking about consensual touch, consensual advances with women, act like they don't know what's going on. Those same dudes know exactly what's going on when it comes to a gay man trying to make advances at them. All of a sudden, they understand consent and understand body autonomy. And that's how I know boys be lying. You feel me? I had, you know what I'm saying, one of the homies from the hometown, like George. So you saying that, matter of fact, I almost want to read the tweet. You know what I'm saying? I replied to them was like, hey, so if you post a thirst trap you think that it justifies unwanted sexual advances? So if a man get his fresh haircut, you know what I'm saying, fresh lineup, you feel me? We talking about we finna go run errands and we literally posting a thirst trap. You think it justifies non-consensual advances? I don't think it does. It reminds me of this metaphor I seen one time on Twitter long ago about consent in the metaphor of a $5 bill, acknowledging that consent is not just sexual. Consent can also just be, any advance, especially with money. And I recognize that most dudes, you feel me, you know what I'm saying? Most of them anyway, some be so, you feel me, lost in the sauce and, you know what I'm saying, foolishness, they can't critically think. But most men understand consent when it comes to money, right? If you give somebody $5, it doesn't justify somebody coming to take $5 from you because you gave $5 to somebody else. If I post money on social media, it doesn't make it permissible for individuals to come and take money from me because hey, I was economics, I was financializing myself. I don't know what you would call it. You see what I'm saying? Likewise, when we start talking about sexual consent, a lot of individuals miss the boat when we start talking about body. So let's talk about money. You know what I'm saying? I gotta go find the tweets to really get into it. But first, I want to read to y'all this other tweet. You know what I'm saying, from the homie, because I feel like bro thought he was cooking already, and it was like, nah, fam, that ain't what it is. That is not what it is. He said, George, if a man/woman posts half-naked photos and videos to the internet, that's literally them sexualizing themselves. Or what are we talking about? LOL. Now the way people act on it is a different story, but still being the one that put it out for judgment, I mean, their fault. To me, right here, this is the same idea that if a woman shows up to the club and they more revealing than you think they should be, then you feel like it justifies whatever thoughts come to your mind and how you should treat them. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about in terms of rape culture. And that's what I'm talking about in terms of how respectability politics, that same idea that if a woman dresses a certain way, you got to treat her a certain way. It's the same idea that white folks use to murder niggas and lock us up all the time. You feel me? We think about it being real. A lot of the ways that we emulate hip hop culture and rap culture and dress, white people in the white gaze see it as being thug and criminal. We know what's happening if they try to, you feel me, prescribe different stigmas and pathologies on our bodies that's trying to justify killing us or locking us up. Likewise, a lot of y'all are talking about Angel Reese and other black women in ways that justify, you feel me, them being harassed and them having unconsensual, unwanted sexual advances. Just in 2024, where we talk about pedophilia all the time and sexual violence all the time, and everybody's talking about no Diddy, right? It shows me that most people be more caught up with homosexual acts than they is with actual sexual violence. And that's the reason why people trying to trivialize what Angel Reese did and said on that, you know what I'm saying, on that stage. Especially those that's like, well, if she would have won, she would have been up there being cocky and pouting and this, that, and the other. Is like, now let's deploy some emotional intelligence. Even if you believe that if she would have won, she would have been saying, yeah, I won, it does not negate her feelings. Emotional intelligence can be defined about not only how you understand your own feelings and emotions, but also how you're able to account for the people around you. And what I know is that a lot of us are practicing shit that's antithetical to emotional intelligence, and we doing it under the guise of like engagement. You feel me? A lot of people right now is making very disparaging, immoral, you know what I'm saying, cap ass statements and narratives about Angel Reese because they want some engagement. You feel me? They want some views, you know what I'm saying? Want some likes, some retweets. You feel me? That's the reason why people like Emmanuel Acho will always use their platform to talk some shit about, you know what I'm saying, a black woman that they saying that he disagree with. You feel me? Because in my mind, it's like you took your ass on there, Emmanuel, on a white. Let me see. Let's see this. Let's see. Here, the thing about technology is we always able to pull it up. You know what I'm saying? Good morning, Deron. Good morning, Paris. Good morning, Destiny. What's up, Jay? Good morning, Mia. Let's pull this video up, though. I want y'all to see how egregious, bro. You know what I'm saying? How egregious bro being. And it's how I know too that a lot of the Republicans then figured out that it's a lot of y'all that's so in opposition to women and gay people and trans people that they can trick y'all and really passing policies that mess over y'all own community because y'all are so dialectically opposed to people in your community, like Angel Reese. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, we ain't dialectically opposed, so we just think that she dressed like a hoe, so we can treat her like a hoe. It's like, that's kind of my point actually. But let's see what Emmanuel said.
To give a gender neutral, racially indifferent take. Now, if you want to say, well, Acho, cater your take based upon.
You knew he was going to be on some bullshit when he forefronted being neutral and objective. I'm about to make a neutral, objective, gender neutral. That's how you know he about to say some very tasteless things. Let's hear it.
Acho, cater your take based upon race, I will understand that. But I'm about to give a gender neutral, racially indifferent take. Angel Reese, you can't be a big bad wolf, but then kind of cry like Kurt's a cowardly dog. Because if you want to act grown, which she has, if you want to get paid like you're grown, which you are, if you want to talk to grown folks like you're grown, which you did post game when you told a coach for an opposing team, watch your mouth. If you want to tell people get your money up, then post game when you take an L, you just got to take it on the chin. Nobody mourns when the villain catches an L. And Angel Reese, you are self-proclaimed to be the villain. Shout out to you because you were the second best basketball player on the court, and it was not close. Outside of Caitlin,
just like this is what we're talking about right here. Is that when you start to build a narrative, that narrative actually impacts bodies. And when you have a positionality with the people you're talking about, it might even hit different. That's the reason why a lot of black folks in the hood talk about the way that black cops treat us compared to white cops, because they be a part of the same cloth, so it hit different. You see what I'm saying? When Angel Reese got all these redneck, you know what I'm saying, white dudes going out their way to post, you know, artificially AI generated sexual images, that's unsexual, that's unwanted sexual advances. But I imagine when Angel Reese goes on the Twitter or goes on the TikTok or goes on the Instagram and see men that's the same color as her taking the same position as the opposition of the white supremacist outright people that's literally disavowing black women's position, to me, I bet you it make her feel type of way. I know it make me feel type of way. You feel me? When I see black people, especially black men, making the same arguments of the white supremacists when it comes to respectability politics or gender or sexuality, it always like it be like, damn, you so opposed with your own people, you willing to go click up with the enemies to say fuck them, huh? That's some sucker shit. And that's how I know when y'all talk about pandering and simping, y'all don't really have that same energy. You see what I'm saying? Because if you really care about pandering and simping, you will keep that same consistent concern all the time. But y'all don't have that feeling when y'all see entire grown men building entire platforms around validating affirmation from other men at the expense of women. Y'all don't call that pandering and simping. Y'all call them, you feel me, successful red pill, blue pill, Kevin Samuels, Andrew Tate type shit. And their ideologies is what pushed this idea of, hey, listen, man, if a woman sexualizes herself, she can't get mad at me sexualizing her because she did it to herself. You don't have that same idea when it comes to you. You see what I'm saying? If you sexualize yourself, you don't think it justifies anybody else sexualizing you. You feel me? It's really one of the reasons why I know it's so easy for a lot of us straight men to buy into homophobia, because we believe or we subconsciously tell on ourselves that when men want something, they go out there no matter what. So a lot of us be feeling uncomfortable when it become around gay men because you feel like they don't give you an unwanted sexual advance, which shows you recognize the difference between consent and non-consent. You just play the fool when they start talking about gender, sexual violence towards women. You see what I'm saying? If we talking about, you know what I'm saying, dropping soaps and this, that, and the other, you understand consent then, but you don't understand consent when we start talking about, you feel me, women. Think about it. Beyonce, quote unquote, sexualizes herself. Do y'all think that Beyonce, quote unquote, sexualizing herself justify people giving her unwanted advances? Do you think that it justifies Beyonce being sexually harassed? You think it like let's really think about this. If your mama hop on Facebook and she posts a picture that could be seen as a thirst trap, does it justify your homeboys making unwanted sexual advances at your mama? Hell no, it don't. Does it justify strangers that's popping into the comment section sexualizing your mama? No, it don't. Does it justify them being like, hey, your mom, they say your mom at the grocery store, sexualizer. And they'd be like, your mama be like, don't sexualize me. You be like, well, you sexualize yourself on Facebook in March 31st. And I think that justifies me. It's like, what are we doing here? What are we saying here? What are we doing here? What are we saying here? And in my mind, it's like, when you have, in my mind, you should be able to just have respect for women just because. But I acknowledge that a lot of times we don't have respect for women until we have us a real intimate relationship with them, intimate relationship with them, like a mother, a daughter, you know what I'm saying, X, Y, and Z. Uh, sadly, a lot of these crazy ideas that's being prescribed on to other people's bodies, it's gonna happen to your daughter. It's gonna happen to our daughters. And that's the reason why we should be more mindful of consent. Even if you wasn't just an ethical person and just cared about gender violence because you think that nobody should deal with it. You got a daughter, you know what I'm saying? I mean, think about what you're saying and you're doing. Think about the standards that you're setting. And I throw this word out there a lot. Let me define it. Rape culture is a term that was coined in the 1970s, designed to show the ways in which society blames victims of sexual assault and normalizes male sexual violence. I'm gonna repeat that. It's designed to show the ways in which society blames victims of sexual assault and normalizes male sexual violence. It allows us to live in a society where it is acceptable to teach sexualized violence prevention as don't get raped instead of don't rape. When people start talking about, well, if a woman sexualizes themselves, then that they did it to themselves, and whatever happens to them is justifiable. That is a manifestation of rape culture that allows for not only the abusers to get away with, you feel me, putting on violence towards women. It also allows for the abuser to never be seen as such because, hey, she did it to herself. Ain't no fun unless we all had some. What are we doing, man? Education is elevation, and my motto really is: if some of us ain't free, then none of us is free. And the way a lot of y'all is lost in the sauce of rape culture and not understanding consent is baffling. We gonna never be free. You know what I'm saying? The last thing I'll say is the difference between coercion and consent, because I recognize, you feel me, a lot of y'all don't understand that either. You know what I mean? So I know it might be some people that already closed their ears off, which is fine. You feel me? But for the people that still here that want to learn, you know what I'm saying? Coercion and consent is usually conflated together, especially when we start talking about sex, because people start feeling like, well, she didn't say no. It's like, well, if you coerced her into sex and she didn't consent to it, it still was unconsensual. You know what I'm saying? And see, coercion describes any attempt to control your behavior with threats or manipulation. Sexual coercion then happens when someone won't accept the no and continues to try to convince you to change your mind about engaging in sexual activity. In this article, we use sex as a shorthand to describe any form of all forms of sexual contact or activity. There is no definition of sex, and what's considered to be sex varies from person to person. For example, this might include kissing, licking, sucking, touching, rubbing, grinding, all that stuff, right? Once we start to get into how coercion typically remains in the realm of verbal and emotional pressure, then people start to let their barriers down and feel like, well, they told me no, but if I convince them to say yeah, then that's consent. You don't recognize coercion. And I understand that most of us straight men recognize what coercion is when we start getting advances, unwanted advances from anybody in the LGBT community. Then you understand what coercion is. That's how I know. I feel like people be willingly dumb or we be willingly ignorant. And be willingly ignorant just to make a point. You see what I'm saying? Saying again. The same boys that act like they don't understand consent when it comes to women's bodies, damn sure understand consent when it comes to unwanted advances from gay men. Have the same energy, same ideology when it comes to unwanted advances. The last thing I'll say in this, and I got ready for therapy, man. Last thing I'll say in this. Individuals having some self-pride and having confidence and feeling attractive, or having confidence and looking good or feeling good, it doesn't give nobody justification to try to, weaponize that against them or try to consume that for their own desire. You see what I'm saying? If I post a picture or a video and I'm feeling good and I'm looking good, and I even say I feel good and look good, this don't mean you can just come and violate me rhetorically, materially, symbolically. They don't mean that. You see what I'm saying? Just keep this in mind the next time you hear about consent or women sexualizing themselves, because it is a cycle that leads to a lot of gender violence. And you know what I'm saying? What we know is that, you feel me, this is the last thing I say for real this time. When y'all justify and normalize gender violence at the same time acknowledging how Black men are disproportionately incarcerated, I believe you are feeding the prison industrial complex in a way, because it allows for a lot of us Black men to think that we have immunity to, you know what I'm saying, giving gender violence, and that literally leads to us being locked up in one of the ways that we become the pathological abuser, because, you know what I'm saying, people believe we can't control our anger and sexuality anyway. So when you're a Black man and you see a woman that sexualizes herself and you believe you can sexualize her, I think you feeding into the ideology that Black men, we can't control our sexuality, and that we brutes. Come here, girl. That's what I think you're doing. You feel me? Like I always say in all my videos, I'm a former debater. If you disagree with anything I done said and you down for a good old structured debate, theconsciously.com or info@theconsciously.com. That's where the email you go to. And I stay ready, so I ain't got to get ready. And I know for a fact I will intellectually bust anybody ass on this conversation. I would intellectually mop the flow upstairs, downstairs, goddamn the hallways, all that. You feel me? Structured debate, meaning you can pick the time that I talk in terms of first to last. You can pick how long those speeches is. You can even word the topic. I guarantee though, when it comes to consent, sexual violence, gender violence, I'm not gonna lose that. You feel me? Education is elevation. I'll holler at y'all. You feel me? Therapy is good. You know what I'm saying? If you therapy is good, damn it.